right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Mike Plachter, that flipping accountant. We're bringing back the podcast that took off for a few months. It's been kind of busy just going through, deals and work and things of that nature. But we're bringing the podcast back. Really excited about it. Today we got a really special guest, Michael Mullahy, new investor, someone I met actually a couple months ago through a mutual friend of ours. But I think this could be a good one. Mike's a new investor. We're just gonna kind of take this as like maybe like almost like a mentoring session. So see what I could do to help Mike, things of that nature. But yeah, welcome to the show, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Mike. First podcast, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. This is
Yep.
get your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, so Mike Mullahy. I grew up in Monroe, New York, which is about an hour north of the city. Growing up, I was big sports kid, into working out, very big into golf. Still am. I went to Penn State University, where there I studied economics and cybersecurity. Where out of school I landed a cybersecurity job. Which I've been doing for the last 3 years now or so. Recently, last year, I moved out to New Hyde Park, which is kind of on the border of Queens and Long Island, to be close to the city. But yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That's fine. I didn't even know you went to Penn State. My cousin went to Penn State.
Oh yeah, yep. I graduated in 2020 during the whole COVID mess. So
Okay. Yeah, so you're way younger than him. But yeah, man, I always wanted to go to Penn State, go to a football game there. I heard it's like another experience, really fun.
yeah, fun school. Had a good time. Was in a fraternity. Had a lot of fun. Obviously into the football. They got a big game this weekend against Ohio State actually tomorrow. So we'll see.
Oh shit, I haven't followed football like that. Yeah, Penn State's like what, sixth in the country?
I think they're 7 right now. They're
They're
right there.
undefeated, I believe. There's a lot
Yep.
of undefeated teams.
Yeah, this seems to be the story every year. They
Yeah.
stay undefeated until they run into Ohio State and Michigan, and that's when the season like really starts. So
Ohio State's good this year.
yeah, yep, they're like two
I
or
know,
three.
I
Yep,
know Michigan's sick. I know they're like number two in the country.
yep. So
The Big Ten, they're pretty stacked this year, it sounds like.
yeah, they're the powerhouses. So
Yeah. And then yeah, you said New Hyde Park. So I know you live on Long Island. What brought you out here? Because you're from Monroe. You, I guess, have a job. I mean, your job in the city. Could you commute from Monroe, or you just said no? I got friends out in New Hyde Park or
I
whatever.
could like so Monroe is a big commuter town. For like my parents both commuted to the city. My dad was NYPD, and my mom worked in asset management at a company in the city. It's just a long commute. It's like it could be over an hour, hour and a half, and such, and just traffic. But I really moved out here. So one of my good friends lives out here on Long Island, and also just living up in Monroe. Well, it was good growing up, had hometown friends, had a good time. Good childhood growing up. It was just one of those things where as I got older, especially after I graduated school and went back home, I was looking to just move out of the house. There's just not a ton going on upstate up there. There's no really like just any type of scene or life really outside of just like a couple local bars, and everyone kind of knows each other and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's just one of those things where I was just looking to basically just kind of move out of the area. And yeah, winded up here, close to the city. I like it out here on Long Island. Like I said, very into the golf too. So I wanted to find an area where there's plenty of golf courses out here. So yeah, it just seems I've enjoyed my time out here, and I'm liking it. So
Nice, man. Cool.
yep.
All right, man. So how did you get into real estate investing? Like, what drew you in? Like, what's your story there?
Yeah. So what happened? So like I said, I landed a cybersecurity job out of school. I was working it for the past, so it's been about 3 years now, but about earlier this year, in 2023, kind of at the start of the new year, I was about 2 years into my job, and I just felt like very stagnated. I just felt like I was putting in the work at my job, but wasn't sure if this is like really what I loved and what I 100% wanted to commit my life to. I also just felt like just working that 9 to 5, like I would check in, work my job, then go home, maybe go to the gym or a little. But once I signed off, there wasn't like any like type of like goal or anything that I was like challenging myself and going after. Um, and I feel it kind of almost for a little bit like put me in a bad like mental like headspace. And I kind of just for my own self, like I needed something more, was looking for something more out of my life, honestly, just in general. So I kind of just, I remember obviously we met through Greg Helbeck, just seeing his Instagram posts and how active he was on social media. Just saw what he was doing, kind of following what he was doing, watching his videos, seeing what he was getting into every day. And he just seemed to like really be passionate about it, really be enjoying it. Um, being wildly or being very successful. So I was just interested, and I decided. Obviously, I was great friends with, and still am great friends with his younger brother, who's my age. Greg's about 3 or 4 years older,
Yeah.
but we were like very close family friends growing up, and still am. But so I decided to send Greg a message and just basically ask him to just set up a call, like just said, like, congrats on all the success. You seem to be killing it. I was just curious to kind of get your background, hear your story of how you got involved in real estate, and just looking to like learn more. So we set up a call, which I appreciated him doing. Basically, just 20, 30 minutes, gave me a little bit about his background, how he got into it. Um, and then basically gave me, said, if I'm interested in this, I asked what I could be doing. He gave me 3 books that I should be that I could read that he just recommended, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, and The Compound Effect.
I think I
So
read those last two.
yeah, so I read those 3. Um, I would listen to them on audio podcasts and read them when I had try to make a good amount of time or set aside a half hour at least each day and try to just read before because I wanted to try to knock them out in a certain amount of time to show them that I was serious about this. Um, to set up maybe a follow up call about what I could be doing next, ways to just get more involved. Um, and I found when I was reading those books that I actually very much enjoyed them. I felt they were just good, good for the brain. Like everything, a lot of what they had to say didn't just necessarily have to do with real estate in general, but just forming just better habits about life in general. And
Yeah.
it honestly got me I started just feeling a lot better. I got me very into, I've always been into working out, but it got me into running a lot. And I would listen to it while I would run. And it was just all kind of about challenging yourself. A lot of what they had to say in these books, and just being very disciplined in what you're trying to do. I just felt it was very good for my overall health and everything. But I'm rambling on. But basically, read those books, went back to Greg, and then let him know I read those. Was asking other steps. I was watching YouTube videos, really trying to learn. I
Yeah.
was starting to get into the wholesaling YouTube videos and watching those.
Yeah, it
Um,
draws everyone in. That always
yeah,
draws the new investors. I always hear I get calls all the time. They watch a video, they're like, "Oh, I want to do this," and I'm like, "Oh, so you watch some video?" I could already tell, like, wait, the videos they're watching, and they call me, and I don't hear from them ever again. You
yeah,
know, so it's like a
yeah,
lot of people get into this because they see a video and then they don't know what to do and they fail fast.
yeah.
Like you were persistent enough to kind of like go through, past that, early breaking point, and that's good.
Yep, yep. So I was watching that, and obviously, yeah, like they have those YouTube videos. A lot of them are like how to wholesale 10 minutes and whatnot, but it doesn't go into the nitty gritty and like stuff you need to know and going
Yeah,
into the contracts and everything. It just makes it sound so simple. But basically from there, so I kept me and Greg kind of kept a healthy dialogue going back and forth, and then I was watching his videos, and he said that he was starting up a coaching class, a mentoring class that he was starting up. And he said, since I was a new joiner, he invited me, and that he seemed like he could see that I was interested. It seemed that I was serious about it. He invited me to join the coaching class, which you were in, which is how we came to meet. From there, it was 12-week coaching class. Learned a lot of good stuff. A lot of golden nuggets, as Greg likes to say. Took a lot of notes, met a lot of good people too, made some connections through that class. And then towards the end of it, was trying to figure out what my next step was as far as actually taking action and getting into the real estate space myself. I was thinking of going down the texting marketing channel myself and putting the money down to get into that, when I know you had the situation where you were looking for someone to kind of help out with your company and kind of take lead on the texting and SMS day to day tasks. So it's kind of one of those things that timing worked out where I was looking to learn and you needed someone. So it was kind of a perfect match where now
Yeah,
we're doing business together.
it worked out perfectly. Yeah, so people don't know, Mike's my acquisition specialist at the company. Yeah, just like I was, like I said, same thing. Greg invited me into the group. That's where we met. We kind of knew each other for those multiple weeks, and it wasn't until
Yeah.
like the last like week or two that someone in the group was explaining, because we were going over like the problems that I'm having. I'm like, oh man, I need someone for this and this and that and the other thing. And you were like, oh, I want to do this, that, and the other thing. And someone was like, why don't you two just work together?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Jacob.
it was like just kind of stating the obvious after a while. Like, oh, we should have thought of that. Light bulb went off.
Yeah. So that kind of worked out perfectly at the timing that I was in. Getting the new CRM, getting everything kind of set up. The systems were kind of being set up before I was really implementing a lot on the marketing side. Now we're just in the middle of it. So I'm glad, it worked out perfectly, really, for
Yep.
me and for you. And yeah, you're able to learn and kind of learn the business from the ground up, hopefully from someone who's doing a lot of deals on Long Island, where you want to actually do deals, right? Like you, even though you're from the Orange County or Dutchess County, you're from the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
So but you're living down here and you want to do deals here, so that's pretty cool.
Yep.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So it all worked out. I'm glad I've been enjoying obviously working alongside you. I appreciate everything that you've been showing me, and obviously it's kind of branched into new things and getting involved in other steps of the process and different types of marketing and going on appointments. So yeah.
yeah, I think it's gonna work out perfect. And you were saying before, like, at least with your job, you were looking for like a challenge.
Yeah.
It seems like you entered an industry that is full of challenges. So if you're like lacking challenges, I don't think you came to the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. Which is like, I think it's like I said, when I was just kind of a year ago, when I would just basically sign on to my 9 to 5, do my day to day tasks, not really try to pursue anything new, just kind of sign off and that was it. And then do the same cycle every Monday through Friday. I think it just put me in a bad, like I said, mental headspace. I think since then, I've just been feeling a lot better. I've gotten, like I said, this has been great, just learning, trying to learn and grow as not just in real estate, but just as a human. I've gotten involved since getting involved in real estate. Like I said, relating back to these books, I'm actually, like I stated earlier, I've gotten into the running. I never thought I would be doing this, but I'm running actually the New York City Marathon. It's in 2 weeks from this Sunday, which a year ago I couldn't run more than like 4 miles. So it's just been kind of one of those, it's kind of been a snowball effect where I'm just trying to just grow and just get the most out of life.
Well, yeah. So let's touch briefly on the running. I do want to get into like back to the real estate investing.
Yep.
But because that was like something I noticed. You were like telling me on the phone the other day, like, oh yeah, I run like, or I saw on Instagram you like, ran like 20 miles. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can run like a mile and a half, and I'm shocked.
Yeah, yeah. It's just been one of those things where I got into it maybe about a year ago, started just on the treadmill, and just trying to knock out like whatever it was, 3, 4 miles would eventually die out when I would try to push myself more. But it was just kind of one of those things where I just kept pushing myself, try to go a mile longer, a half mile longer, try to beat this time. And it was just that constant push. And while still to this day, like I just ran yesterday, it still sucks. I do
Yeah,
not enjoy it in the time, but The feeling afterwards of just that accomplishment feeling and the rewarding feeling of when you actually like when I see myself doing something that 6 months ago I never thought I was going to be able to do. um it's just a feeling that I just really can't explain. And I just very much enjoy it. And like I said, I think the running itself also just gives me confidence, and I can relate it to these other into the real estate, to just try to push myself. Like, even though maybe I'm still young in this, if I just keep going, keep up the work, keep putting in the day-to-day action to keep growing and moving forward, that it'll eventually lead to major accomplishment and reward.
Nice. Well, that's what I want to hear. Yeah, dude. Like, so getting back to the real estate, what I was saying, like how this is such a tough business. It really is, man. Particularly if you don't have any guidance in the beginning.
Yeah.
You're people are just you're gonna get discouraged. I mean, there's just so you get punched in the face figuratively every day.
Hmm.
And if you don't know what to do, you're gonna spin your wheels. You're not gonna know what to do to stay on your game, and you'll just get discouraged and quit. That's what most people quit, like
Hmm.
way before they're even like let's say imagine a mountain, right? Most people quit before they even like really start and get started up that mountain. That's how hard this business is. And then
Yeah.
if you can make it past certain layers, then I mean I'm still trying to climb the mountain, man. I
Yeah.
believe I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Um, and it's so hard. Like you remember just literally today in the last couple of days, we had that smoking hot deal in
Yeah.
sure
Yep.
like the best deal I've ever came across,
Yep.
really. And that's gone. It's blew up in
Yep.
my face. I'm not getting the deal. Not even close.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not because they're shopping it around. It's because they're just, there's other factors that came in that we didn't know about in the beginning. And now I'm like trying to fight for the listing, and they're like, I have no chance. I
Yeah.
have no chance. So my emotions were so high, and yeah, just got blown up in my face. So that happens all the time, really, and
Yeah.
it's very frustrating. So you really have to have like an even keeled emotional state, and you just gotta like really take it, just take
Yeah.
the punches. That's how it works, man. So
Which is what I'm learning, and just trying to, like I said, like you're going into, just trying to be disciplined and persistent and kind of have that don't give up attitude. And I think that's kind of where part of the joy is, though. There's joy like in the grind and the difficulty of it, because then when
yeah,
things actually do go through, you put in the work and that it was deserved. So
yeah, it's a roller coaster for sure. But I think you're, in good hands in that working with me, because I think you'll learn a lot, and it'll set you up, and you'll kind of learn the business from someone who is learning the business. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, for sure, for sure.
So what are some of your goals like in this out of this and in this business? And then we'll kind of figure out how I could help you get there.
Well, starting my goals, like, and I think they're changing almost as I'm learning and
Yeah.
I'm learning the business and going through these steps with you. I think part of my goals is just starting out, like just learning the ins and outs of these different types of marketing campaigns that we're doing, and just seeing which ones, what type of traction we're getting from each one's, kind of going through those up and downs. You're never not going to know fully what to expect, but trying to just get a feel, and see like how things work. My goals really, I want to build a portfolio eventually, and just have rental properties and looking for like assets in my name, for that passive income. It's one of those things where I don't want to say that I'm like it's not a rush, because I'm not prioritizing it, but I'm willing to put in the time, and like I said, just working alongside you. It's a long term. I'm ready to put the time in that it takes to get there eventually. But that's really long term what I'm looking for. And now just working alongside you, going on these appointments, learning from you, learning the language, learning just steps that I just, even when we're going through some of these processes and going to the appointments, like things that I need to know, paperwork that we need to get, just all these different steps that are included in the process, that I will just become more familiar with, just being around it, and working through it with you.
Yeah. No, you learn a lot. Like in the beginning, Long Island's so much different than the rest of the country. So it's like or I should say New York, really. Like meaning we talking about the paperwork, right? It's really the township. So what we do is a
Yeah.
lot of FOIL requests and things of that nature.
Yep.
Most places in the country, you just go, you can buy a property. There's no like municipal searches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like there aren't a lot of problems really that come up when you're doing transactions in Long Island. There are,
Yeah.
there's open violations, there's permit problems, there's CO issues. There's so many problems that come up. So things like that you don't know when you first start out. You have no clue. And then you start to learn from other investors. That's how I learned. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But being in these networking rooms with guys that were at the time way more and still are way more experienced than I am,
Mhm.
and just asking them the questions, like asking them like about the different townships.
Yeah.
You don't know about the town of Brookhaven, which we're learning a lot about now because that's where we're mainly doing our deals,
Yep.
versus the town of Huntington. They're all
Yeah.
different. They're all different processes. They're all faster, slower, better to deal with, worse to deal with. They all
Yep.
kind of suck, to be honest with you. But they're just it's tough. It's tough to really get to work and analyze a deal if you don't know these things, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I have a deal in Mastic Beach that, well, I don't have the deal. I should say I'm losing out on the deal. But the point is, like, I know what's going to go into this deal and how long it's going to take. So I'm factoring in a long process into my
Yeah.
numbers, right? You need to know that going into a deal. If you're a new investor and you saw this deal, you would think it's a great deal at the number that the seller's asking, where I
Mhm.
could tell you that it's not, right?
Yeah.
A lot of newbies will just go into deals thinking they have something they don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are things you learn over time. Hopefully you'll learn a lot through, working with me and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I think just like you said, going through this with you and going through these experiences and seeing what you're going through, and when there is a lead that you're pursuing, following along the steps, asking you the questions. I think just even seeing it, and like you were just talking into the townships, like just being able to be around that. So those are questions, like learning what questions I should be asking when we're in um, the East Coast RIA meetings and whatnot. Just being around it, it just leads to the more you learn, the more questions you have.
Yeah, you just have a curious mind, always ask questions, about things so you can get a better understanding. Because when you're presented with a deal, how are you going to analyze it? How you need an understanding of how things work and what things cost and things of that nature in order for you to actually analyze a deal.
Yep.
Because this business is literally about putting in offers. Uh, that's all. That's really literally all it's about is putting in offers. But in order to put in offers, you need to get deals in front of you to evaluate,
Yeah.
and then before that, you need to get leads that will people are drawing attention to raising their hand to, yes, I want to sell, and then that's the funnel. It's
Yep.
drawing in leads, qualifying those leads to see if they're either motivated or really willing to sell,
Yep.
and then just analyzing the deals, going on appointments, coming up with the number to give them an offer and putting in the offer, and then hopefully getting accepted offer. That's
Yep.
the whole business.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, I mean that's really what this is about. We were talking a lot about like the sales process, and I'm trying to teach you that. I'm still learning it myself,
Yeah.
but I've come to realize like it's not so much about being like a salesman or anything like that.
Yeah.
Uh, it's really just about disqualifying people
Hmm.
to get qualified leads in front of you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think I'm getting better at, just being on the phone more with people and with texting, getting better at learning like what how to qualify leads and which one really is a serious lead and whatnot. And even just going through like you said, kind of the sales part of it and just speaking on the phone. I think a big part of it also, when I was just starting out, trying not to just read just straight off the paper from a script. If you're just personable with the person, like a lot of the time they'll do the talking for you. Like if you just show that you're listening to them, ask the right questions, but just give them the chance to have the floor. A lot of them are looking to share a lot of the information,
Yeah,
where you won't really need to dive too deep into it. They'll just start to go into it themselves if they're serious. So
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to just know what questions to ask them, and
yeah,
then they'll just talk.
yep,
Essentially, that's really how a lot of the better leads are.
yeah,
And we've known to like not necessarily go off of asking price. A lot of sellers want more than the house is worth, and some people will say, "Oh, it's not a deal." I could tell you some of my best deals were times that they were asking like a crazy number,
yeah,
but I knew based on our questioning that there was something. It's not always easy to tell, but you have like a second, like me at least, I have like um like a sixth sense. I'm just like something's up here. I can't tell like the motivation, but something is off.
yeah,
And that's when I'm like, all right, book the appointment, let's go on it. And then,
yeah,
and then even though their asking price is too high, and we give them an offer, and we'll kind of reel them back in, be like, listen, I don't know where you get that offer, that number from. I mean, I was running the numbers, and where an investor would give the work that it needs, like this is where we need to be. And that's where you really get to the bottom of it. You really get their bottom number. You say, no, I can't do that, Mike. I'm at 225, or whatever their number is. And then that's where the game starts. That's where negotiating it comes in.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, like you said, if the more motivated they are, like then you will get a better sense. Like no one's just like we. If you just think about it from a human aspect, everyone's obviously going to want the most they can get for their home. But if
Yeah.
the reasoning is there and there really is the motivation to need, they'll obviously be willing to move that needle, just depending on how motivated they are.
Yeah, that's why we have like a somewhat of a system where if we need a reason for them to say. If they just have like, yeah, I'm selling, they raise their hand, that's not really a reason to sell a discount, right?
Yeah,
To an investor. So something like that, we're not really going to pursue too much, but we always want to like find out if there's another reason. Like, is the house vacant? Does it need work? Is your asking price super low? Like, we have like a
yeah.
bullet points and systems for that. But
Yeah, like you said, a big part of it's disqualifying too. Like I
yeah,
try to make sure I try to explain to them too. Like it's got to make sense for both of us. Like we don't want to push something that doesn't make sense for them either. You know what I mean? Because it's never going to
yeah.
work out in the long run. So
Most of the best leads that I've gotten, they know that we're investors and we need to make a
yeah,
profit. Like they literally will say that sometimes. They're like, listen, I know you guys got to make some money, and I know the house needs a little work, and I just want to get rid of it. Like some people really truly see value in, maybe they live in Florida, maybe they just want a quick sale. They're just like, I'm done with this. They're smart people. Some of these people are like, doctors and lawyers and stuff, and they're just like, listen, if I can get like a fair number for this property, and I don't have to go there ever again. I could just sign some papers and get a check. Like
yeah,
I'll take, 25, 50 grand, 75 grand less than it's worth.
yeah,
Because then if you put it on the market to get that extra 50, it's a pain in the ass sometimes. They don't want that.
yep,
Sometimes these houses are just a headache for people, and they'd rather sell to someone like us.
yep,
So, so yeah, that's pretty much it, man. The whole business is about, like I said, disqualifying, but also getting a system to pull in leads,
hmm,
right? And that's where me and you have kind of, you're helping me out with the texting, but now we're starting to elevate you to the next level because we're doing direct mail, we
yep,
have SEO, like we have other forms that are drawing in pretty good leads. And that's what this is about, this whole business. So I guess as far as your goals, we kind of went over like what you want to do. And I guess how are we going to get there? Right. So one of the things I would recommend for you, I would say, is to start building your network. That's like the first thing. Like I was taught that from my mentor. Um, Literally our first meeting was like, hey, you need to start building and growing your network of people that can bring you deals. You
yep,
know what I mean? And that's realtors, that's attorneys, that's other investors,
hmm,
right? And what does that mean, other investors? Other investors, the barrier to entry as an investor is so low. Literally, an investor can be anyone.
yeah,
I'm serious. That's how
yeah,
easy people call themselves real estate investors. They have never done a deal in their life.
yep,
It's just like anyone who's in this business, right? Everyone in our networking group, right? The East Coast RIA,
yep,
anyone on Instagram who's looking into real estate. Like
Yeah.
those are investors, quote unquote,
Hmm.
right? They can bring you deals. So you just got to continue to grow your network there. And it's not even that. It's literally literally when I first started, I wrote out a letter and sent it to like really people that are close to me, my cousins, my friends. I was like, hey, if you ever driving by a property, you know, shoot me the address. You
Yeah.
know, I'll contact them and try to get them to sell it.
Mm.
So it's literally everyone you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone
And one thing I've learned just even going through the East Coast RIA and just obviously the coaching group and whatnot, like a lot of these people that are real estate investors and that have been in the business, one thing that I already can tell just in the short time that I've been doing it is that 99% is more than willing to help. They enjoy helping. They want to help new investors learn. They want to share their experiences, and they're looking to help you grow to become a real estate investor and help you get that first deal. So everyone, it seems like for the most part, everyone that I've spoken to has been, like I said, great help, great resources to speak to. So
Yeah.
that's been great in that aspect.
Yeah, that's why, I recommended going to East Coast RIA. That's the RIA that we're both in. Everyone there is, like you said, very helpful, and there's no bad actors
Yeah,
in those groups, and that's important. You want to be part of like, because that's the worst thing you can do is get into this business and then you meet the wrong person and they screw you out of something, and that's just not right. And there's no one out there. There's no salesman people. There's no like salesy people there either, which is pretty good. It's a good group, man. So start there, grow your network there, right? Definitely, contact people outside of these breakout rooms
yeah,
after the fact. And that's just a start, though. I think you gotta grow your network far outside of that room too.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've started to do that mostly on Instagram. Like I've grown a little bit of like a following on Instagram. Um, so I think that you definitely should start there.
mhm,
Instagram posting, um, just trying to like grow your net, commenting on people's posts and stuff like that. That always is a big one.
yeah,
And then there's just going to networking events. Go to like there's always like a realtor event or something like that. There's always some kind of event you can go to meet.
yeah,
Realtors are great referral sources. They're always getting deals. They're always listing properties. But not all of them are gonna go on the market. Some of them are just like pocket deals, and that's what you want. So
yeah.
definitely grow your network there.
Yeah, and I think that'll be good for me. I think that's something that I need to start looking into more. And like I said, just getting even just the East Coast GRIA is great, but also just looking for those events, just to go in person, meet people, shake some hands, just to keep, like you said, growing the network, learning from others, hearing other different perspectives. Might find someone that's in a similar boat and whatnot, and how they went about it. So yeah,
Yeah, that's going to be your most effective marketing strategy. And when you get deals through there, it doesn't cost you anything,
yeah, yeah,
$0. So that's number one. And then from there, obviously there's marketing and stuff. But oh, and then I would say one of the first things I started when I first started was obviously trying to grow a network, but building out a team is vital, because let's say you come across a deal tomorrow.
yep,
Do you have an attorney? Do you have a financing guy, right? Like a mortgage guy? Do you have a contractor? A lot of these homes we buy are going to be pieces of junk
yeah,
you have to fix up. So you need a trustworthy contractor. There's just a lot of different people you can add into your network. Insurance, you need an insurance guy.
yeah.
Uh, Obviously, just ask people in your network for referrals and interview them and stuff. But that's very important is building out your team before you're even ready to buy a deal. You should already have that set up.
Yeah, for sure, which is something that I'm learning, and obviously, I'm getting to see that this isn't really a one man show. Like you need to have those connections in order to make these deals work. You gotta have have those people really on your side and on your team that you can rely to go on to go to when you do find these deals to help push it to the finish line and basically helping each other's
Yeah.
business. So
And then one of the next things I would say that well, let me first back up. There's no like step one, step two, step three,
yeah,
right? This is just like things I'm recommending. Like, dude, there are guys that have made it in this business, doing it a completely different way than I've done it.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? There's just like there's that's what's I think funny about this business is that a lot of newer investors are like looking for a step-by-step plan
Yeah.
to become, and I'm like, there's no step-by-step plan. It's you make a plan and execute.
Yeah.
There's no really that's the way to do it. There's no one by one plan. But I would say another thing you should start doing um is credibility is huge, right? And if you're going to start raising, you're going to have to raise capital at some point to get to these deals, and support the deals and stuff like that, because you can't do it on your own savings. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have so much money. Plus, you're in your 20s, you don't have millions of
Yeah.
dollars and stuff. But you start building relationships with people that can lend you money,
Yeah.
uh, and that'll get you to scale, to 2 to 3 to 4, up. That's how
Mhm.
you can do it. But to do that, you need to have credibility, and people need to trust you that you're gonna, do the right thing. So
Yeah.
the first deal might be tough to get to raise money. Not that you can't do it, you have friends, you have family, people that will lend you the money. But at some point you have to get outside of that sphere. And I would say the best way to do that is to do a couple deals first. So, find a deal, bring it to someone like me, an investor, and then you
Yeah.
can always like partner up with them on the deal and
Mhm.
say, listen, and then document everything. That's a big one. Document it, social media, all that stuff. And then
Okay.
you have like a portfolio of work that you've done after
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 deals and say, listen, I have all this experience. I have a team. You could put together like a credibility packet with all of that documented and say, here you go. Like
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay you X. And I have, 3 deals that I need funding for. That adds credibility.
Yeah, for sure. But definitely, I think that would be something that I should do because I think that'll be obviously it's a lot of money that they're going to be trusting you with. So if you do something like that, show that you have a scope of work and show previous experience. I'm sure that'll go a long way rather than just basically um, asking someone really with showing that you don't have much experience, but you think you have a deal here, and it's hard for someone to really trust you in that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I guess in wrapping up, we'll have some takeaways, maybe some action items for you to do.
Mhm.
Um, so I think one would be on the networking front.
Yeah.
Um, there's obviously East Coast RIA, it's next Wednesday, but outside of that, I think you should try to go to like a networking event. And I would say in the next 30 days, you should try to go to like some kind of network. We'll figure it out if you want. I can help you find something.
Yeah.
But try to go to like a networking event, just meet new people. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be literally like the fall festival of networking. Like it doesn't have to be like a formal event. It could be literally an investor hosting like a workshop at his flip.
Yeah.
The yeah, it could be a networking event, it could be a realtor event, it could be, I don't know, you went to like some breakfast club and met like a bunch of new people. I don't know. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of different ways to do it, but try to do at least one, I would say. I mean, literally, if you're really serious about growing your network, I would be doing one a week because you're single. I think we're not married at
Yeah.
least. You don't have
Yep.
a family, like kids, I mean. So you have the time.
Mhm.
Uh, I wish I was in my 20s and didn't have, kids. I'd be doing it like twice a week. I'd be at networking
Yeah.
events and shit. But it's not feasible for me now. So I would start with that. That's going to be your best thing to do, at least early on. And
Yep.
then other action item would be really to start to think to build out your team, right? So interview a couple
Yeah.
attorneys and insurance people, maybe some mortgage guys too. A
Okay.
few different people, get referrals through people in your network, and start interviewing these people and just ask them questions and stuff like that, and then pick someone,
Yeah.
who you feel comfortable working with.
Yeah, for sure. Those are two action items that if I can definitely do. So I will make sure I will come back to you and show that I'm serious about this, and we'll make sure to get to at least one or two events this month. Be on the lookout for them, and I'm sure if I do a search, there's plenty out there that I can find, and even through social media, I know
Yeah,
there's plenty. Um, and then yeah, um, I will move
absolutely.
forward in action on that. So
All right, awesome, man. I appreciate having you on the podcast, man. Thanks so much. And
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me on and all that you've been teaching me and showing me. I've been enjoying the process. So thank you very much.
all right, man. All right, thanks, bro.
All right, take care.